The day I knew I couldn't stay in America anymore, I was standing in line at CVS holding a bottle of blood pressure medication. The pharmacist said, $147. I froze. I had $89 in my checking account. It was the 23rd of the month. My Social Security deposit wouldn't come until the 3rd. I smiled, said, I'll come back, and walked out. My hands were shaking. That night, I didn't take my medication. I sat in my tiny apartment in Phoenix, Arizona, staring at the wall, and I whispered to myself, this is America, the richest country in the world, and I can't afford to stay alive. I was 65 years old. I had worked since I was 19. I paid my taxes. I never asked for handouts. I did everything right. And yet, here I was choosing between pills and food. I used to think America was the land of opportunity. I believed if you worked hard, saved money, and played by the rules, you'd be okay in old age. I believed that for 46 years. I worked as a bookkeeper for a small insurance firm in Tempe. Not glamorous, but steady. I made $42,000 a year at my peak. I contributed to my 401k. I didn't splurge. I drove a 2008 Honda Civic with 180,000 miles on it. But then the company downsized. I was let go at 63. Restructuring, they called it, no pension, just a handshake in a cardboard box. I tried finding another job. I applied to 47 positions in 6 months. Most didn't even respond. A few sent automated rejections. One interviewer actually said, we're looking for someone who can grow with the company. I was 64. Apparently, I had stopped growing. So I took Social Security early, $1,680 a month. That was my reward for nearly 5 decades of work. Let me show you what that bought me in Phoenix. Rent for a 400 square foot studio, $1,295 electricity, Arizona heat, remember? $110 internet, $65 phone, $45 medication when I could afford it, $220, food $180, gas $60. Do the math. I was $595 short every single month. I started skipping meals. I turned off the AC even when it was 105 degrees Fahrenheit outside. I stopped seeing the doctor. I canceled the internet. One afternoon, my neighbor knocked on my door. She was worried because she hadn't seen me in days. When I opened the door, she gasped. I had lost 18 pounds in 2 months. She asked, are you okay? I lied. I'm fine, just on a diet. But I wasn't fine. I was disappearing. It was a Sunday morning in March. I was sitting on a bench outside a Goodwill, where I had just donated my winter coats because I needed the closet space and because I thought, when will I ever travel somewhere cold again? An old man sat down next to me. He had a shopping cart full of belongings. He was homeless. We didn't talk at first, but then he pulled out a sandwich, probably from a shelter, and broke it in half. He offered me a piece. I stared at it. He said, you look hungry. I took it and I cried. Not because I was hungry, but because I realized I was 2 missed rent payments away from being him. In that moment, sitting on that bench with a stranger who had less than nothing, I understood something I had been denying for months. America had given up on me. Or maybe I had given up on America. Either way, I couldn't stay. That night I opened my laptop at the public library. I typed, cheapest places to retire outside America. The algorithm gave me listicles. Top 10 retirement havens. Where your dollar goes further. I clicked through them mechanically. Portugal, Mexico, Ecuador, Thailand. And then I saw Philippines. Cost of living, $800 to $1,200 per month for a comfortable life. I read that line 3 times. Comfortable. Life. I hadn't had either in years. I spent the next 2 weeks at that library, 8 hours a day, reading everything I could find. I watched YouTube videos of expat retirees. I read forums. I joined Facebook groups with names like Americans Retired in the Philippines and Living Well on Less. What I found shocked me. There were people, Americans like me, living in small towns and villages across the Philippines. Not in Manila, not in resorts, but in real communities. They paid $150 a month for a house with a yard. They ate fresh fish, tropical fruit, and home-cooked meals for $3 a day. They had health care. A doctor's visit cost $5. An x-ray cost $8. Medication was a fraction of U.S. prices. But what really got me were the comments people left. I feel like I got my life back. For the first time in 20 years, I'm not stressed about money. People here treat me like family, not like I'm a burden. That last one hit me hardest. In America, I felt invisible. At the grocery store, at the bank, even at church, no one really saw me. I was just another old woman taking up space. I wanted to be seen again. I went to Denny's, one of my few affordable luxuries, and ordered a cup of coffee. I asked the waitress for extra napkins. She probably thought I was going to spill something. Instead, I started writing. Option 1, stay in America. Keep struggling, skip more meals, hope I don't get sicker. Wait to die broken alone. I stared at those words, my hand was trembling. Then I flipped the napkin over. Option 2, go to the Philippines, rent a small house, $150 to $250. Food, $150, utilities, $40, healthcare, $30, transportation, $30, miscellaneous, $50. Total, $450 to $550 per month. Leftover, $1,100 plus. For the first time in 3 years, I felt something I thought I lost forever. But hope is fragile. Doubt crept in fast. What if I hate it? What if I get sick and no one helps me? What if I'm making the biggest mistake of my life? I sat there for an hour staring at that napkin. Then I thought about the man with the sandwich, the neighbor who saw me disappearing, the pharmacist who watched me walk away without my medication. I thought, what do I really have to lose? The truth was, I had already lost everything that mattered. I gave my landlord 30 days notice. He didn't ask why I was leaving. He just said, good luck. That's America for you. No one asks, no one cares. Good luck. I sold my furniture on Craigslist, a couch for $40, a bed frame for $25, my little kitchen table for $15. People came to my apartment. They barely looked at me. They inspected the couch, asked if the price was firm, loaded it into their trucks and left. No one said, where are you going? No one said, are you okay? I donated boxes of books, clothes, kitchenware, things I thought I needed, things I thought defined me. At the Salvation Army, a young volunteer helped me carry the boxes. He looked at the pile and said, moving? I said, starting over. He smiled. That's brave. It was the kindest thing anyone had said to me in months. My daughter, who lives in Colorado and hadn't called me in 8 months, suddenly called when she heard I was leaving. Mom, are you crazy? You're going to a third world country. What if something happens to you? I wanted to say, something is already happening to me. I'm dying here. But instead I said, I'll be fine. I'll call you when I get there. She didn't offer to help me pack. She didn't offer to come say goodbye. She just said, well, it's your life. Yes, it is. By mid-May, I had everything I owned packed into 2 suitcases. One had clothes. The other had a few photo albums, my mother's wedding ring, and a journal I'd kept since I was 20. I stood in my empty apartment one last time. The walls were bare. The carpet had stains I'd tried to cover with furniture. The kitchen smelled like old grease. I thought I'd feel sad, but I didn't. I felt free. The flight from Phoenix to Los Angeles, then Los Angeles to Manila, was 18 hours total. I sat in economy, middle seat, next to a Filipino family returning home after visiting relatives in California. The mother had 3 kids. The youngest, maybe 4 years old, kept peeking over the seat at me. She smiled, I smiled back. Then she handed me a piece of mango candy. Her mother said, "Sorry, she likes to share." I said, "It's okay, thank you." The little girl said, "You're welcome, Lola." I didn't know what Lola meant yet, but I liked the sound of it. During the flight, the mother asked, "First time to the Philippines?" I said, "Yes, I'm moving there." She looked surprised. "By yourself?" I nodded. She said, "You're brave. But don't worry, Filipinos are kind. You'll be okay." I wanted to believe her. When the plane landed in Manila, it was 6 a.m. The sun was rising, bright and hot, even through the terminal windows. The air smelled different, humid, earthy, alive. I took a deep breath and thought, this is it. There's no going back. I didn't stay in Manila. I had already arranged to rent a small house in a village called Cedro in the province of Batangas, about 2 hours south of the city. I found the place through a Facebook group. A retired American teacher named Bob posted photos. A one-bedroom house with a porch, a small kitchen, and a yard with mango trees. $180 a month. He wrote, "This isn't luxury, but it's peaceful, and the people here will treat you like family." I sent him a message. We talked on video chat. He seemed genuine. So I wired the first month's rent and booked my flight. When I arrived in San Isidro, Bob picked me up in a tricycle, a small motorcycle with a sidecar. The driver was a man named Tito Jun. He didn't speak much English, but he smiled the whole way. The road was bumpy, unpaved in some parts. Chickens wandered across the street. Kids played basketball on a cracked concrete court. Bob said, "Not what you're used to, huh?" I said, "No, but maybe that's good." The house was small, one room with a bed, a table, two chairs, a tiny bathroom with a bucket for washing, a kitchen with a gas stove and a single cabinet. But it had a porch. And from that porch, I could see rice fields stretching out toward the mountains. Bob said, "I'll introduce you to the neighbors tomorrow. They're excited to meet you." I said, "Why?" He laughed, "Because you're the new Lola. They don't get many Americans here. You're going to be a celebrity." That night, I sat on the porch listening to sounds I hadn't heard in years. Crickets, a distant rooster, wind in the banana trees. I thought about my apartment in Phoenix. Sirens, traffic, silence that felt cold. That was when I realized I wasn't running away. I was running towards something. Back in America, I woke up every day to alarms, bills, and stress. Here I woke up to roosters and morning light. I sat on the porch with instant coffee, unsure what to do. A woman carrying a basket greeted me. "Good morning, ma'am. You are the new Lola?" That was how I met Aling Rosa. A few minutes later, a little boy gave me 3 mangoes from his mother. In Phoenix, I lived beside the same neighbors for 4 years and never learned their names. Here, after 8 hours, strangers were welcoming me like family. Slowly, I learned the rhythm of the village. People wake early, sweep their yards, cook rice, and talk to each other. Time isn't counted. Life moves slower. The market was simple but full of life. No barcodes, no credit cards, just fresh food and friendly faces. Ailing Rosa introduced me to everyone, and someone even called me beautiful. I hadn't heard that in 20 years. I bought fresh food for less than $2. When I tried to cook it and failed, Rosa came over laughing kindly and taught me how to make a proper meal. We ate together on the floor. That simple meal healed something inside me. 2 months later, I fell sick with pneumonia. In America, I would have faced it alone. Here, I didn't even have to ask for help. Rosa got the tricycle driver, the health worker, and the village rallied around me. My checkup, x-ray, and medicine cost less than $10. And for days, Rosa brought me meals and tea. Every time I tried to thank her, she said, "You are family." People think village life is miserable. But I found a kind of wealth I never had in America. Here, no one eats alone. If you're sick, someone shows up. If you fall, someone picks you up. In Phoenix, I had a good phone, Wi-Fi, a fridge, and AC, but I was starving for connection. Here, I have less. But I am full. People ask me, is it safe? Do you regret it? What if you get sick? I feel safer here than I ever did in Phoenix. I don't regret anything. I already got sick, and I was cared for. And yes, my family lives far away, but here I've gained a new one. I've been in San Cedro for 8 months. I wake up without an alarm. I drink coffee on the porch. I go to the market. I help neighbors. I laugh. I breathe. I'm not rich, but I'm alive. And I'm happy. If this story reached you, tell me where you are right now. What are you holding on to? What are you afraid to let go? Because maybe we're all just searching for the same thing: a place to belong, a reason to wake up, a life worth living. I found mine in a small village in the Philippines. Where will you find yours?